Nerd Lag Game Club. Welcome to the Nerd Lag Game Club podcast, the podcast where we play games instead of reading books. I'm Corey, and I'm joined by three party members today: Lauren,
Hey.
Tonsa,
What's up?
and Danboy.
Hello.
In this episode of the Game Club, we're looking at life in a new perspective and playing Superliminal. Superliminal was released on November 12th, 2019 for the PC, and then it released for a bunch of stuff after that. And it was developed and published by Pillow Castle Games. This is Pillow Castle Games' only game, which is pretty funny. Before we get any further into Superliminal, I want to give the spoiler warning, and I would recommend playing this before listening to the episode. This was our short game for the month of June, and we're super late about recording it, but it was for June. And I'm going to give a brief summary of the story for Superliminal. Superliminal doesn't really have a story, but it follows a person that we don't know who we are, going through a dream sequence, basically. He falls asleep watching...
Dream simulation.
Yeah, our character falls asleep watching an ad for like a sleeping dream simulation center, and then we find ourselves in that simulation, and we have to just keep going through and solving puzzles as we uncover what is going on in our own brain, I guess. There's not a whole lot of story to this, to be honest.
The gist of it, it's all about perception.
Perception and trying to escape your dream prison. Each episode, we break up the main points of the games between us, starting with gameplay and mechanics. Tonsa is going to tell us all about them for Superliminal.
I'm actually not sure how it controls on the Switch, because I think that's what Lauren played, but basically you just clicked on like whatever objects that are interactable, and then used your, like, you can rotate them, and then if you use your perception of them to either make them bigger or smaller, and scale them to the room to solve puzzles. And at one point, you can match puzzles on the wall or match objects to the wall and pull objects from midair, or from nothing. I'm trying to think of the best way. It's just like you get like random objects. It's kind of the same random objects throughout the whole thing, like a cheese, like a block of cheese thing.
Is that
Exit
a piece of
signs.
cake?
I thought it was cheese.
I thought that was cake.
I was like Swiss cheese.
Lauren, was that cake or cheese?
It says
I
cheese.
thought-
I have a walkthrough open.
Yeah, I thought it was like a cheese wedge.
Oh.
Wedge, not a piece. And then like or squares or chess pieces. That's basically it. You use that stuff.
Apples in there,
Yeah, one was like a whole thing about like duplicating apples,
which I still never understood.
There's teleporting gates, like doors.
You could
I have a
take
guide open. I'm trying to look.
You could take an object and place it somewhere, and then it would make like the ground solid or not solid, almost like it made it real. Like there's like a whole chess piece puzzle that does that. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's all about placing objects in solving puzzles with objects, and mainly based off like your perspective of like making, like, you know, make it bigger by like holding it farther. And like I would always, if I wanted something bigger, I would take it and throw it and fling it in the air and then catch it right before it hits me. Then it's huge.
Yeah, you just look straight up and then just let it fall.
Yeah, and then it's like gigantic. And then that was like how I did that. Or you make it smaller by like walking like as close as possible to it and grabbing it.
That's about
I think that's
it.
all for gameplay, really. And then we're more into getting into the puzzles.
Yeah, I mean, to sum it up, it's basically a walking simulator with some puzzle aspects. There's not much else to the gameplay. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, and then a narrative is going on. Like, there's a narrative the entire time you play.
Yeah, it had me fooled. Let's move on to art design. Lauren, how about you tell us about the art for Superliminal? What a weird name.
Yeah. So the only designer I could find credited to the game, their name was Logan, last name, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Faith?
I thought at first you were gonna
Yeah.
say. At first, I thought you were gonna say his last name was last name. The only credit I
Yeah.
got was this guy named Logan last name.
Yeah, last name. Been credited for like a few other games, like a game called Four-Sided Fantasy is the lead designer and programmer for that one. I've never heard of it, but looks kind of interesting. Tumblestone, and Perspective, which I guess Perspective is very similar to this game, but I didn't look into it. I just read an article about it. Looks like he's basically the level designer for the game, working on it through contracts, so he wasn't like part of the studio necessarily, but you could tell the game's made in Unity. It very much has that like Unity look to it. I honestly feel like it would have been enjoyed as like a VR game because it looks exactly like a VR game would. At least a lot of VR games I've
I think it
seen
should have
or
been a
played.
VR game.
Yeah, so like art style wise, and looks wise, think VR game. That's pretty much what it looks like. But yeah, that's what I have. I mean, it's a small team, so there's not many people that were involved.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like everything in it is like an asset that they bought from someone to use.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just looks like basic Unity asset.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean it looks alright. It's fine. It's a Unity game. Alright, let's move on to sound and music. Dan, you're up next, and how about you tell us about the sound design and music for Superliminal?
Oh man, it's been a while since I played this. I don't really remember like the music and how all it sounded. I think it was kind of like lo-fi type at some points. I think it was just kind of like I like to consider it cinematic music.
It reminded me of being
Ambient.
it just reminded me of being in an elevator.
Yeah, there was a lot of
I
like infomercial stuff. Like kind of like felt like the background music for an infomercial.
But I remember like if you would make like an object really big and then you dropped it, it'd make like a bigger thud, and then like if you made it small and you dropped it, it'd just be like beep. Which was, I think, kind of nice.
Yeah, you would drop like the giant cheese like wedge, and it was like.
Exactly like that. Yep.
Yeah.
That was the sound.
Yeah,
That-
it was just loud and like I don't know if it was like almost weightless hitting, but like loud, still loud. It was pretty entertaining.
Did you clip that from the game? Because that was really impressive.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh yeah. I have a YouTube video up right here.
Did you put it on a soundboard? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, I'm adding it to the Discord soundboard right now.
It was so good.
But
Oh, I was gonna play one I was gonna play that lead pipe dropping one, but then I was like, I don't want to do that. Here comes in. Corey'd have to edit around it.
yeah. No, I ain't really got anything. Yeah, it's just been a while since I played. Don't really remember like specifics on things.
Yeah,
So,
it's fine. The music, sound
But
design, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't think there was like too much going on with the music, like in the grand scheme of things.
It was pretty like quiet, and then there was like when you do stuff, it was like the narration, which just felt that fit it.
The narration's probably the best audio in the game. Like the Dr. Glenn Rogers or whatever his name is.
Quagmire. Oh, yeah.
He definitely has like the ASMR like late night like falling asleep infomercial voice. It fit very well.
How many times he introduced himself to us? I'm shocked that I can't remember it.
Yeah.
Because like, every time you hit like the voice recorder or whatever, the voice recorder.
Oh, I am
boombox thing.
Boombox.
Boombox.
He like introduced himself. Hi, I'm Dr. Glenn whatever. And I'm working at the Dream Studio Center.
Please wake up. I screwed up really bad. Please wake up.
Wake up.
Yeah.
Dude,
God, please.
Glenn Pierce.
Glenn Pierce. All right, let's open up the floor. Just talk about anything that made an impact. Does anyone want to go first?
I will, but it's I don't know how to really. I'll try my best to explain it without being too spoilery.
You can be
But,
as spoiler as you want. There's nothing to this game.
Okay, I guess so. So at the end of the game, the very end of the game, where you're going through
The whiteness.
all the levels again, like backwards, like you're descending backwards, and you have Dr. Glenn Pierce talking to you about your kind of how the stuff was designed and why it was designed that way, about how everything was made perfectly fine and normal, and you were just kind of, there for the ride. But it felt nice, It was a good feeling, You're going through, had the song playing that I don't remember how it sounded, but I remember thinking at that time it was so well put together to fit in perfectly to that spot. And yeah, I really liked the end part. The very ending of the game I liked. I liked the best.
Yeah, that's probably the best part of
Me
the
too.
game.
When the credits started rolling, I was like, "Yeah,
Okay, come on, guys.
buddy."
He's super negative. He was like this earlier when I was talking to him.
I did not enjoy this game, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I would give the ending probably the most kudos though, because the message is there and it's kind of filling in. But I guess if I was gonna pick a point, like stuff out, it's like where it turns into a random horror section. I wish they would have just doubled down in that part.
Same.
Yeah,
That's
I
my
thought that's
favorite
where
part.
we were staying, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I felt like it needed that, and it just kind of just stopped, and it was like, oh, that's kind of sad.
Yeah. So this is also the first point I wanted to point out as well, because it sets up very well. It gets really dark, and you have what looks like red blood everywhere, but it ends up being red paint. And
Man,
like
I
you're
love
using
blue blood.
and you're using like the lights from the exit signs and like random things around there to solve the puzzles and find areas that you wouldn't be able to see without the light, which is kind of cool. And it's like real creepy, and like you have like doors
The-
closing on you and stuff. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like we're turning into a horror
Yeah, the
game.
giant pop is now positioned so you read it as die.
Yeah. So it's like it's set up as if like it's about like all shit's about to hit the fan. And then you start doing those puzzles and you're like, all right, and then that's it. Then they go back to like what it was. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I think the weirdest part of it is you went really hard where it's the slow build in the beginning, then that being the halfway point. It's like, oh, and then you do a full level that's kind of spooky and eerie. Because I think that's the same one with the elevator puzzle. Maybe not. No. Or yeah, I think so.
Oh, it might be.
I have a list, but you have to click on each of these things. It has the pit one where you you have to navigate the wood. Yeah, but it's it kept kind of being kind of creepy, and you're like, all right, when's this gonna be? Is it gonna stay in this realm? And then it just kind of drops.
Yeah, you just like finish those puzzles and then you're just like, okay.
Well, yeah, because right after that level is the apple stuff, and I was like, oh, this is. I mean, I felt like some of those were neat. But at the same time, it's kind of we went from kind of serious, where I was kind of tension was like, oh, is this gonna get scary? To then the most calming, everything's really bright and green.
Yeah. And it's like just real like easy going, nothing's all like,
super casual again.
Yeah, nothing's stressful. But yeah, if it would have full dove into being like a horror game, I think this would have been much better. What about you, Lauren? Anything that stands out for you?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't. I liked the part where the time kept resetting over and over. It was almost like you were crazy. Like, oh, I went so far, then boom, restarted again. Went so far, boom.
Oh, with
that's
the
it.
alarm
Oh,
clock?
yeah, that part I
Oh.
really liked that because it makes you feel like you're stuck in a time loop, and that's my biggest.
It's did I progress? Did I not progress?
Yeah, part of I don't know, as somebody with depression, I always have those days where I feel like I'm stuck in a loop and I do the same thing over and over. So it, like, I don't know. It
Hey, I did
that
acid,
yeah.
man. I was trying to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and it was that. It was terrifying.
Yeah, so I don't know that part. Like, really, I really like that. I thought that was cool.
Actually, just thinking, I liked every part that was like behind the scenes,
Yeah,
like where you're like, it just looks like you're in like a back of a warehouse, like.
Yeah.
yeah.
I like pulling all the fire alarms, every single one of them.
And making the fire extinguishers go off.
Yeah. And they had like the weirdest sound. I also liked emptying all the pop out of the pop machines.
You just spamming it.
Yeah.
I also tried to. I like that. Like there are certain puzzles that it wanted you to do something else, and it's like, all right, now I'm just gonna make this big, and I'm gonna jump, and then I'm gonna try to jump again and make it big. Like I'm gonna try to cheese this.
I did have early on one of the puzzles. I made this cube. It's like the ABC block, and I made it huge, and it ended up knocking me out of the room. And then I couldn't grab it to make it smaller again because there was one of those doors that's like, you can't take an item in here. So I couldn't grab it to make it any smaller. And I had to restart the whole puzzle because I couldn't do anything. I was trapped.
The only thing I had similar to that is like the one where you have to put the exit sign on two of the platforms on the ground. Like you make it real big and it like hits both buttons at the same time. It fell over when I got in the second, like the first room's empty, then you have to go through another door, then that's like where you're supposed to go. I walked through the other door and it fell over and I was just trapped. And I was like, oh.
Like,
I had to restart the whole, like, it restarted like the whole thing. So I had to redo the whole beginning of the game. Which, I mean, at that point took like 2 seconds because you already did everything.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, that was the only issue I had. Like, everything else worked fine. I just, I think it kind of fell flat for me personally, but.
So I wanted to ask a question now that I'm thinking about it. There's the one puzzle where there's the giant fan and then you can like duplicate like the apple.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the like top of the steps there's like the button switch to like open up the door. How were you supposed to do that?
Just go to the button, look at it. Look at the apple.
That's how I did
it too.
No.
Yeah, for a while there I just tried to spam as many apples and then like try to see if I could stack them, and then you can't do that. And then I go up there and I just started clicking, and it happened. And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Interesting.
How'd you do it, Dan? How'd you do
it? So I did this the most complicated way. There's the fire alarm right next to the door.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you, like, duplicate the items, but you can't, like, hold the items, I don't think.
No, you can't hold
I think every time, you would do it, it would just kind of, like, drop on the ground or whatever, and then you click it again, and it would just keep duplicating. Well, I just kept duplicating until there was just a trail to the button, and then you could only duplicate it so many times, or it would stop duplicating, so then I had to revert it all, get all the buttons back into the original button, and then do it again until they just had one on the button. Took me a good 5-10 minutes of just clicking on it.
It's so difficult. Like, you just made it so difficult.
I couldn't figure it out, and I just gave up on it. I was like, okay, it just wants me to mess with this button for 20 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I messed with it not too long, but I did try to do exactly what you did, and then I was just like, oh, I'm gonna go up here, and then you just look at the apple and click, and it was like, oh.
Yeah, it's like you just bring it closer to you, and then you just set it down.
Yeah.
See, I didn't think you could hold it. That was my issue.
I think you just click, and it's just perception is it's on the.
Yeah, you don't hold it. You just click it, and then it's like, oh, instead of it being at the bottom, it's right here next to you.
Yeah, because the way you look at it, it's like the tiny apple. When you clicked it again, it just the lip of it's just perceived as it being the next click is the button.
I do like the chess one though. I mentioned it when we were talking about gameplay, but where you have to move the chess piece to make the squares solid. If you don't have the chess piece in them, then you'll fall through the floor and have to start at the beginning of the board, the chess board. so you basically have to like leapfrog the pieces. Like you put one with you, or put one down.
So fast. At that
Get-
point, I was like speed running and I was just throwing them.
Yeah, so you like put one down and then you like get on it, then you grab the other one and put it in the square next to you and you move to that square and then you bring the other piece to the next square and then that's how you get across that area. I thought that was a pretty clever puzzle.
Yeah, I think it's good.
A lot of the other puzzles in that like section that like
The white
is
area?
it like negative area? Is it negative puzzles? Didn't really like. I don't like that big room where you have to just figure out where you can push forward in. Like Lauren got caught on that one, like she got stuck on it.
Yeah.
Well, there's that one. There's the one in the rain. Where the room kept getting smaller and smaller. And then like it was like a first iteration of that.
But like yeah, so like there's like it's like you're in a bit like a room with windows. And it's like a big white room. And there's not really anything going on. Like the two doors take you to the same location. And you have to end up like walking the perimeter of the room and then you at one point you can push your body basically like through the white and then you get like behind the scenes of it basically. And I was like, this stupid puzzle. I also like the puzzle where it wants you to do like it gives you like the two rooms with the portal doors and you could take one portal to get out the other portal.
You know the dollhouse.
And you're trying to get to like you're trying to get to the keyhole.
Mm-hmm.
And it wants you to like use the portals to get to it.
Yeah, you did it the way I was trying to do it. I just did it.
I just stacked the two rooms on top of each other and just jumped up and walked through the keyhole.
Yeah.
I didn't even use the doors.
I tried to do that, and then I was like, "Oh wait, I think this is what it was."
So that was my like fire alarm puzzle, like Dan did. Just did it a way that doesn't need to be done. And I actually think it was probably harder because I had to like balance them on top of each other.
Because I tried to do it, and it was a pain in the ass. And then when I walked through one, I was like, "Oh, this is what they want me to do."
Yeah, because I had to I balanced the two rooms on top of each other, and they couldn't be too big because I had to be able to jump up to them. So that was pretty interesting. Anything else, Lauren?
No.
Tonsa, Dan, anything else?
No, I think we're good.
I think the only one I would want to talk about is like where you keep repeating you have to turn or you have to look at the exit then go. That one was dumb but also kind of neat. That was like a crazy one.
I hated that puzzle.
Yeah, me too.
Are you talking about the one where it's like the left to right and then
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like you had to look one way before you turn the other way. And if you didn't,
yeah,
I didn't know there was
to do it like quick enough.
Yeah, I didn't listen. Once you realize there's an audio cue, it's like, oh, okay. I didn't realize there was an audio cue. I kind of like that one because that was like during or after the spooky stuff, and I was like, all right, this is still like, yeah. So I was like, is this back? Like, we getting another creepy one? And then it turned out not to be, but I like that one. I think I'm good now.
Yeah, I think
We've talked about most of it.
I think I'm good too. Let's time to completion. So how long did it take you guys to finish this game?
2 hours and 12 minutes.
I was 2 hours and 56 minutes. Dan?
The speed run returns, continues. 1 hour, 51 minutes.
I was expecting you to be like 46 minutes.
Yeah.
No,
you didn't
play
the game,
that's my whole button bullshit.
Lauren, do you have an idea?
I don't know. If I had to guesstimate, I'd say around 3 hours, but
Go damn!
not 100% sure, honestly.
Mine was much longer because this is the curse of the hookah.
Yeah.
Because we had the hookah lit, and instead of playing it while smoking it, I would sit there and scroll on my phone while hit my turn to smoke it, and then I'd pass it back to Lauren, and then I'd play again.
Break from the game.
Yeah. So, yeah. All right, let's move into recommendations. Each episode, we go around and find out if we would recommend the game we're playing, and why or why not. So, starting with Lauren, would you recommend this game, and why or why not?
I guess it depends. I like to make comparisons price wise. If it's full price for me, it probably wasn't worth it, honestly. I there was parts of it where I was like, I think this is being drug out too long for it staying the same anyways. If like it would have taken a turn, like you guys said, like maybe like horror or something, I don't think it would have been as bad, but for me it felt like some parts of it were just a little too long and they could have just shortened them and it would have been better. If it's the right price though, yeah. I mean, I thought it was fine for the most part. Just a couple spots, like I said, where I thought it was a little long.
Dan?
I would recommend it. I thought it was okay. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed, trying to think of ways to beat a puzzle, even if that meant duplicating a button 20 million times. Because me no smart, me no have my own brain. But yeah, I think like overall I enjoyed it. I do wish, like you guys said, at that horror part, it would have like stayed in that going in that direction. But overall, it was good.
Tonsa?
So mine's almost in that same vein of Lauren's. I think at full price, I'm going to say no. You could play other games that are, I think, a bit better or handle or kind of do the same thing like Stanley Parable. But I think for cheaper and you get it, and if you want to try to speed run and collect the achievements, I think it's cool because like you can beat that game at your own pace. Like once you know the puzzles, you can get it, and there's achievements for speed running. So I do like that it encourages it. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to pay $20 for a game that's 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I would not recommend this. I did not enjoy it. I think, as you mentioned, like Stanley Parable is a very good version of what this is trying to be. Stanley Parable has a good narrative, a lot that accompanies that game that makes it like much easier to play. There's like some humor. The narrator's kind of a dick. So I think it takes a concept that could be cool, but doesn't do enough with it. And I definitely wouldn't pay $20 for this. I'm a little less bitter because I played it for free on Game Pass, but this one is not a recommend for me.
He's still bitter that he played it.
Yeah.
I'm bitter that I played it, but this is no Donut County.
Oh, fair.
Donut County is the worst experience I've had on any game on this podcast.
So funny.
Were you guys doing any reviews? Is there any reviews for this game?
Hold on. I had it open, but then I closed out of it to add Max Payne to my cart.
Yeah, because that's what you should be doing right now.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here.
No, you're not. We're over Discord.
I'm at my house. Somebody come for the puzzle, stay for the therapy. Amazing experience. My brain hurts. Somebody tried to speedrun it and it broke. Like he had some issue or it broke the time or the screen went black, and he was like, he gave it a negative review.
Good.
He said I tried to beat it in under 30 minutes, and I got to 30 minutes and it crashed. I didn't have any crashes or nothing when I played.
Yeah,
But it all seems good for what it is. Like everybody's basically saying the same thing. Short game, get it on sale. If you have epilepsy, don't buy this. Actually, good point.
I have listened to a couple other podcasts, and I don't know which ones exactly, or I'd give them a shout out, but they also covered this game in a style like ours, and not a single person has been like, honestly, you guys are probably the nicest out of anyone I've heard anything.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't. I mean, like, it helps when you play on Game Pass, and like, I don't know. I only spent 2 hours in it, so.
I'm pretty sure I bought it on sale too. I think it was like $10 or less.
I think it was $5.
I wouldn't mind seeing because some of the things were like, oh, this game needs a sequel. I wouldn't mind seeing them because this is their only game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think it was like, okay, like this isn't your forte. Like I would maybe try something different or like same puzzle style, but make it maybe horror. Because I felt like it had that like if it just went that other way, I think it would have
Yeah,
been fun.
it like pushed it and then was like, nah. And it's like, oh, okay.
Why big cube? why cube big then small? That's basically all the reviews.
That's fine.
And then like everybody's saying the same thing in the negative ones, but it's mostly positive. Just everybody's buy it on sale.
People are too nice. Great. I had a lot of fun today talking about Superliminal on NLGC.
That's the fakest thing.
But before we go, we wanted to share where you can find us online.
First, we have a YouTube channel called NerdLag where we'll be uploading some great content. So make sure to subscribe for the latest videos. We have a Facebook page at NerdLag Game Club. Make sure to like the page so you can get the latest news about the podcast. You can also find us over on Twitter at NerdLag, where we share some of the latest gaming news and stuff we find interesting. And lastly, we have a Discord at NerdLag, where you can talk to us in voice chat and join in some discussion about everything nerdy, like video games, anime, movies, and chat with like-minded people. If you'd like to join, ask for an invite. We also want to thank everyone that tuned in for this episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure you share it with your friends. And also follow us on Spotify. It really helps.
On to the final credits. At the end of each episode, we just take a few minutes to talk about the games we were playing or just anything going on in our lives. So is there anything you guys want to talk about?
Have we been playing stuff? It's been about a month. So what have we...
We played X Defiant, me and Tonsa. And the
beta.
beta. That was okay, I guess. Your typical shooter. Nothing like, out there. We played a couple of like NDA betas.
Can't talk about those.
You guys played quite a bit of State of Decay, or Dan's at least.
Oh yeah, we did play
yeah.
a lot of State of Decay too, which kind of weird, like random weird.
Well, it started. I don't. We weren't playing Project
No, me and I
Zomboid
were playing
during-
COD, and then it was just awful experience for me, and I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. And then I looked on Game Pass, and I was like, Adam, you ever play State of Decay? I was like, you want to play State of Decay? And then we played State of Decay, and it's
and
been
then
a fun time.
we played Project Zomboid. I don't know if we played that during the last podcast.
I think so.
Okay, and then we started Division 2 last night.
Yeah, going back through it.
Hopefully, my game doesn't crash again a bunch.
Good old Ubisoft.
Yeah. I was gonna say, other than that, I haven't really played much.
I started Advance Wars on Switch, which I really like that. It's like are those technically tactical? I think strategy RPGs where you like move your units around.
Isn't it the
RTS?
Fire Emblem type?
Yeah, like you move your units and then they go into like a
those
battle
are-
screen and auto battle.
Yeah, that's fire. Like that's tactics. Like I would consider those like the JRPG like tactics. So that's the Fire Emblem like way.
Yeah, so I've been playing
Like,
that,
these.
which is like Advanced Wars is like warfare with like tanks and helicopters and boats and like infantry units and such.
I like how you say this. I picture like a very like Call of Duty violent game, and it's like
It's
TV,
really
TV graphics.
it's like really anime-esque and it's
yeah, it was a GBA game, right?
yes.
the GBA?
Yes. Now I'm questioning myself. But
I'm looking at it.
I started playing that, and then played Game Boy
GBA.
Advance. Then I played through Def Jam Fight for New York, which was both frustrating and really good experience. I enjoyed that. There's a lot of throwback rappers and stuff that I completely forgot about, so it was pretty cool. I feel like that's pretty much it. I don't know if I've played anything else. Lauren, have you played anything?
No, not really. Besides trying to play Ori, that's about it.
Oh yeah, I played that too.
Well, I did. Yeah, that was next.
That's
Right.
the podcast episode.
Yeah.
No, just watching One Piece. Every time I watch more of those episodes, I just think to myself, this really is my favorite show of all time. It's so good.
It's really
I-
good.
It's so good. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm waiting for my car to come in finally. I got 20 days till it's supposed to be here, so we'll see. I've been waiting for almost 4 months for it, so hopefully it'll be here. I've
We
been without a car for almost 2 months, so
we've made it work.
yeah, it works. Dan nicely lets me use his car when he's not working. My parents let me use theirs. Corey lets me use his if he's not at work. So we've been making it work for sure, but it'll be nice to have my own car again. I'm counting down the days.
Oh, we went bowling.
We
That
Yeah,
was
did
that's
go
fun.
bowling.
cool. I know that's not really
Mhm.
relevant to anything, but I enjoyed it. And Lauren is a shark.
Yeah, she
No,
won.
no.
Yeah, so she beat us in we played 3 games and she beat us in all 3 games, and it's all because instead of her going to lunch at work, her and her coworkers actually go bowling instead.
Yeah, we found a
Uh,
secret out.
yeah, that's not true at all.
That's my theory.
I would never pass up
That's
food.
his game theory.
Now shut up, Tonsa. But yeah, not a whole lot. Just work and such, and the holidays, and all 75 of Lauren's family members that were born in the summer.
Yep.
Just a lot of parties and such going on. Why they all got to be born in the same time?
I don't know. My parents apparently do the deed at the same time of the year.
But I'm good. If you guys are good,
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
all
Yeah.
right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us and spending this little bit of extra time at the end of the episode. We are going to hopefully record Ori soon so we can get caught
Yeah.
back up.
Leak that one.
So
Mhm.
hopefully we can get that done and up very soon. But until then, thanks for listening, and we will catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.